All right. That was a track called Theme and Variations on a brand new record called Music of the Stars by Fabio Mittino, who you'll see in your upper left side of the screen in the black and white shirt. Hi, Fabio.
Hi.
Fabio joins us from Italy, which is just so cool that we can do this kind of thing now. And then we've got Bert from
Good morning.
originally Belgium, but now in Florida. Bert, good morning. Thanks for joining.
Good morning.
I love this new record. First thing first, the art is just wonderful. And I knew you guys were working on a new record, and I knew you were working on getting the audio wrapped up and the CD cover and everything. And so I got an email from Bert with the cover and the MP3s, and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. You guys have such a great taste for aesthetics. I don't know who drives that, if it's one or the other or the both of you, but just wonderful
That
art.
is Fabio.
Fabio.
That is Fabio.
Yeah, Bert's very clear and quick to say. Fabio, you have excellent taste, excellent visual aesthetics, and all of your music videos reflect that as well. Can you talk a little about your design sensibilities? I mean, clearly behind you is just beautiful. Your home, it's just beautiful, clean, minimalist.
Full of nothing.
Full of nothing.
Well, first of all, the cover art has been finalized, and it was made by a friend of mine. His name is Gaetano Majorano, and he worked with me since quite some years, and he was the one who made the cover of our previous two albums. I did together with Bert, and the cover of my solo album, the first one and the second one. The last one I choose a different things, and but yes, for some reason, usually came up to me to decide a little bit the graphic and how to. We like to be kind of minimalistic, and something little bit different than having ourselves on the cover with the guitar, like most. Even if originally there was an idea to present our duo more like a classical guitar duo, even if we use steel strings guitar and archer guitar, but this concept usually I find it better,
Yeah.
And a little bit unusual probably for the music, so I like this kind of contrast.
Yes, it's really wonderful. Bert, can you tell us about the dude on the cover of this album?
Oh, the dude Thomas de Hartmann.
Yeah, who is this guy?
Well, he was born in the late 1800s in former Russia, and he was a little bit of a child prodigy. His father was a military man. He was close to the royal family and the higher circles, and the Tsar. And at the age 22, he was already composing a opera. I forgot if it was an opera or a ballet, but it was a ballet or an opera for the Tsar, performed for the Tsar himself. And he loved it so much that he gave him made it so he didn't have to go to the military. Instead, he gave him a grant to go study composition in Munich, in Europe. And from there, everything started for him. He met all the great and unusual artists from those days, Kandinsky, the Salzman, a dance choreographer. And from there, he also met his teacher, his spiritual teacher, Gurdjieff, whom he followed for 13 years together with his wife. And after the death of Gurdjieff, and with Gurdjieff, he wrote 200 to 300 pieces together. And Fabio and I have been starting with this music. It started as out because Fabio did many years ago a solo album with this music, and we did 2 albums with selections of this period of his life where he followed Gurdjieff. They wrote this music, and after the death of Gurdjieff, he moved to New York with his wife, and there also he met all these amazing people. One of them is Frank Lloyd Wright. Frank Lloyd Wright even invited him to New Mexico, I think, where he lived, or Arizona.
It's Arizona.
To teach, and to give lectures about the relation between the different arts and how they all connect with each other. And interesting enough, he died in 1956, probably just like about a day before a very big performance of all his works and a collaboration with all his students. And he had a massive heart attack or something the day before. And the students carried on with the performance like a sort of a memorial, a memory in his memory. So I was thinking this morning, if I had a choice to be somewhere, anywhere I wanted to be, that probably would have been the place where I would have liked to be.
Wow.
To attend that performance.
And the music, this is the 3rd album that you both have released together. The first 2 albums feature the music of Gurdjieff, right?
Yes.
And can you talk a little about why this music, why Gurdjieff's music, why Thomas de Hartmann, of all the composers, you talked about you could have done classical guitar music, and a lot of people do Bach, or maybe if they're really into guitar, Barrios or Lauro or something like that. Like, why these guys?
Well, for me, it was just out of curiosity. I heard in the name of Gurdjieff in my guitar craft years. And when I knew that he also composed music, as I said, I just wanted to listen to it out of curiosity. And those melodies really resonate in me. And when I discovered that basically no one ever transcribed this music for guitar, I said, well, that's my that's a good idea, and I did it, and as a solo CD first, and then together with Bert, we made it more complete and with full arrangement, and we began our collaboration and our project together.
So this music from Gurdjieff already was a collaboration with Thomas de Hartmann. So Thomas de Hartmann's heart and soul is already in this music. You can hear that. Thomas de Hartmann also wrote a book about his life and this period of his life. It's called Our Life with Mr. Gurdjieff. It's a very interesting and easy to read book that I recommend. But so we made these 2 albums, and I remember last year in the winter, we were on tour on the East Coast. We were playing house concerts all over the place and driving around in the snow. And we were talking about what should we do next? Because we have these 2 albums. Is this it? Because I think we played enough of the music of Gurdjieff. We checked everything out, and these are our favorite pieces. And the logical solution was, let's check out the music of Thomas de Hartmann. And then the next question was, how do we do that? So I have a good friend in Holland. His name is Gert-Jan Blom, and he produced in 2016 a CD with Elan Sikrov, an amazing pianist from Boston that now lives also in Holland. And they did a 7-disc CD, which is this one. See it here.
Oh yeah, wow.
It's the Hartmann Project, 7 discs, and
is that Kandinsky on the cover as well?
Yes, that is a Kandinsky
Yeah.
painting, obviously on the cover. And we found out he wrote 93 works, some of them operas and piano sonatas and chamber music, cello music for cello and piano, songs, a lot of songs with voice, because his wife was a singer. And he was also even a film composer. He composed about 53 scores for films. And so this this music is not really anywhere to find. It's not recorded. Nobody has
Wow.
really recorded this music until Elan Sikharov came on and did this project. So the obvious choice was to listen to this album, and we based our inspiration on Elan Sikharov's great work of this
Oh,
album.
it's wonderful. So you mentioned house concerts. It's worth noting that you two performed here in this very room, standing right over there.
Yes.
And that was such a great night. I still have friends telling me that they loved your performance. And I've seen a lot of live shows. I usually get tired. But halfway through most concerts, I'm like, okay, I can probably make it through this. It doesn't matter who it is. You know, it could be my favorite artist in the world, you know, whatever. Your show is one of the only shows where I thought that was just perfect. Like, perfect in length. It was like a great meal. You know, you just eat the right amount. You feel completely satisfied. And you don't feel like you overate or guilty or anything like that. It was just such a wonderful evening. And we do have, for viewers who are checking this out, we do have, it's probably 8 or 12 minutes of that performance on our YouTube channel. So please check that out. Let's take a listen to another track. Now, something I wanted to note to the viewers, if you've listened to the first two Mittino Lam's albums, you'll note they are really beautiful, very melodic, very musical. This album has some very strange stuff going on that really caught me off guard, really just out of left field. So we can talk about that when we get back, but let's listen to a track called Black Light. And, you know, for those people who really want to hear some weird music, here we go.
Well, let me say something first before you turn that on.
Okay.
Okay, Fabio will say it.
All right.
Okay. Well, Music of the Stars is subdivided.
Black Light.
Black
Light is divided in 3 parts. And basically, the first part is called Fantastico e rubato assai. And Thomas de Hartmann himself described that movement. And he said, it's a story of a poor black man that died, and he was taken to paradise, where he was given coffee with cream and a lot of cakes. So at the beginning you hear this part, and then there is Andante Funebre, which is kind of a blues, a weird blues, and the Hartmann described that this is when his brothers put his body in the ground, and it's called Andante Funebre, and you can hear the harmonics, which represent the bells of the church. And then there is Allegro gioioso e molto ritmico, which is when his soul in a very bright and very white light dance with angels. And this is a very simple melody, like a child melody for me, but is actually, to perform that, it was rather tricky, because it has to be played 130. How do you say, Bert?
130 second. 130 second.
Yes, up before the beat, basically, always kind of. So, but this is the whole story, and if you, it's really easy to imagine those three movements during the song, the piece.
Excellent. Well, I hope everyone's ears are prepared and their minds are prepared. And get yourself a beverage and enjoy this amazing piece. It's funny when you told me about the 1 30-second, gap, to play it before the downbeat. I just thought, what a funny rhythm when I first listened to it. But now I'm thinking, I need to start, I'm going to hear this just 1 32nd of a second before but it's such a cool piece, and there's so much texture and flavor, like you're doing so many things on the guitar. The articulations are really interesting. Somebody asked, what do you look for? It's Mr. Pat Courtney on YouTube asks, what do you look for in a piece when you're selecting songs to work on together? Do you come up with lists separately and compare, or do you review them together?
Yes, Bert?
Bert, you're muted.
You are mute.
The sentence of 2020, you're on mute.
All right, here we go. What I look for first is, does it move me when I can play something in the background, and when it gets my attention, then there's something there. And the first piece I heard from the Hartmann that moved me was the Chanson Sentimentale. It's one of the pieces on our album, and that was the first one that we arranged. And we were in the car together. Actually, I played it for Fabio last winter, and he said, well, what about, this could be something we could play, and then we could look for more pieces like that. So we decided together there, let's do this piece and find a second one after that. And we did piece by piece. The Frog was next. I forgot what else we did, but we went through all the repertoire that Elan is playing. And so we did piece by piece, sent things back and forth. One was a little bit unusual. That was the Pleureuse. It's the opening song. There's two Pleureuses, and they're both dedicated to his friend Pablo Casals. It was one of his close friends, the famous cellist. And those are a little different because, go ahead, Fabio.
Well, this is your, actually, the merit is all yours about Pleureuse, because
Elan suggested us to play that.
First of all, yes, Elan suggested us to do Pleureuse, but then I listened to it, and it was a piece composed for Pablo Casals, the great cello player, and you hear the piano and this beautiful melody played on cello, and I was like, oh man, we will never be able to do that with plucking a strings with, and but then Bert had this great idea. He said, why we what about if we change a little bit the mood? And because the original comping on the piano, it was very difficult to translate. It just is not only about technical things. It's just that there are some things that are made for piano, as something else is made that just work on guitar. So when we do this transcription, we always have that in mind, and we have to make it work for guitar, even if we have to change. And we already did that approach. It was more refined on our second album with Gujar, but in this one, I think that it was even better. And Bert had this great idea of making like a pad, playing with the strings,
with my fingers like it. Can you hear it?
Yeah, we can hear it. And for viewers, check out, they just released a music video of this piece, and there's some great close-up shots of the hands doing, making all these unique articulations that are only possible on the guitar, which I think is very cool.
And he also added the percussion, and that reminded me of Ennio Morricone song. And so we embraced that pathway, and I said, well, why not playing the second half of the melody with an electric guitar? And so I made a little bit of research and study of what kind of guitar and Ennio used to prefer, and in order to, I really wanted to nail that tone, which is different than surf guitar.
Yeah.
It could be confused, but it's different. And so at the end, we had a very different sounding arrangement, but in my opinion, it worked very well in, on guitars.
Now, again, in the video, you can see it's a Fender Jazzmaster or Jaguar or something like
Jazzmaster.
the Jazzmaster, yeah. But on that track, Black Light, that we just listened to, there are so many unique articulations. I was curious, are you starting with sheet music and, are you translating it to the guitar, or are you doing this all by ear and then using your imagination, creativity?
Well, we had to do both because this sheet music is not available. So it's somewhere in manuscripts at the Yale University. So you can get access to it. There are scores, but I don't know where they are. So I wrote to both Gertjan and Elan, and they were kind enough to let me have some PDFs of a few scores. But then they were, we were a little concerned about copyrights and thinking we're not supposed to do that. So we got a score or two. And then for the rest, we had to do it by ear. For Music of the Stars, we had no score. I just had the first page. I saw the first page somewhere on a Google search, and so we got the idea for the beginning. But then and the piece is totally atonal, or most of it is atonal and dissonant. So I had to trust on my ears, and this is where my experience of transcribing Robert Fripp's soundscapes many years ago came in very handy, because that was a lot more difficult, because he uses all the loops and the eventide loops and like 4 or 5 loops together, and I had to figure it all out.
Wow.
And write it down for Andrew Keeling to make an orchestral score. So yeah, that came in handy.
So is there anything, speaking of Music of the Stars, I say we should listen to that one next. Is there any preparation you'd like, or do you want to talk about the sounds and articulations and stuff after we listen?
There is on YouTube a lecture of Elan Sikrov talking about this piece. The lecture is about 25 minutes long. It's a very interesting story, but in a nutshell, it describes a man on the earth looking up to the heavens and looking at the stars and the impression that the stars make on him. And you can hear all these, these dissonant sounds, and Thomas de Hartmann used more dissonant sounds towards the end of his later period of his life and his music. And in this instance, the dissonance creates, in his vision of it, creates light. So the dissonant sounds are, like the stars in the constellation. And there's also very low and dark sounds, right, Fabio? So, and then something happens. In the middle of the piece, there is the man looks at the stars and he gets some kind of message from the stars, and it's like the message is sent to him and he understands something. And that's where you hear a solo melody, a very simple melody. It's not atonal anymore. It's like an Eastern folk melody, that you would hear in a village somewhere played. And then you hear that understanding, or that message that they call a message. Elan calls it a message. And then at the end of the piece, it goes back to the stars, where he looks back up, and it's kind of like he says, "Thank you." That's my interpretation of it.
I love that this.
There's something to add.
I love there are stories, like instead of, we just like the melody and we thought, it's so visceral. It's really enjoyable to hear you talk about the story behind what we're gonna hear.
I would add that this dissonance, and it was considered, it was a modern music, and it was probably Kandinsky, who was a very good friend of Elan, who probably told and encouraged Thomas de Hartmann to write to embrace this kind of new, more modern music. And so the stars and the constellation were, they need to spark, and that spark is the dissonance. But and on the piano was made by playing very, you know, those kind of clusters, very on the very high part, on the very high octave of the piano, and that was not possible on the guitar. So I got this idea of tuning the back part of the strings on the main note, but you can hear that there are a lot of enharmonic the harmonics are kind of messy, you know. It's more like a bell. There is a lot of going on, and is a little bit out of tune in a way. And but they spark, and they work better than artificial harmonics, which are more clear. And so the circulation at the beginning with represent the stars and the constellation are all made playing on the behind the bridge.
Right. Excellent. All right, let's take a listen to Music of the Stars. What a piece. Wow. So thank you so much for sharing all of this and spending some time with us today. Got a great question from Tiny Orchestral Moments. And that question is, do either of you offer remote lessons?
Of course. Both of us do. Yes.
How should anyone who's interested in learning guitar from you reach out to get some lessons?
Send us an email. Contact us on Facebook. Send us a message on Facebook
Okay,
if you don't have our email.
excellent. Fabio, I don't know if you have some sort of microphone mute on, but I couldn't hear you when
What
you were...
about now?
There you are, yeah.
Okay.
So,
I'm available.
yes. And it's extremely important for people to realize that musicians can't tour. And Bert and Fabio, I wish that you could be at our house again this year. Hopefully it will happen next year. We can, maybe instead of a house, maybe we can get about 100 people in. But it's so important for people to know that artists need financial support. Not even support, they just deserve to be paid for the work they do. So yeah, please purchase some lessons from Bert or Fabio. And then who wants to talk about the special digital, pricing of this album?
Go ahead, Bert.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're offering this for a limited time at Pay What You Wish. We've done that with success with the California Guitar Trio when we did our album 5 months ago in May. And many people supported us really, really good. It was also a special time. It was just kind of the beginning of the pandemic when that album came out. So we decided to do the same thing because there's a lot of people out there who are struggling as well. So we're fine with somebody paying $1 or $2 or $0 for our download. It's out there and it's music that really, Robert Fripp would say, wishes to be heard. I want to conclude with something as well. This music is, we are not experts in the music of Thomas de Hartmann, but we transcribed all these pieces that had a special meaning for us, that moved us. And some of these pieces, we made our own arrangements. So some of these pieces are actually much longer in the original versions, like the piece you just heard, Music of the Stars. The idea behind it is that we just introduce a wider audience to this repertoire, because I think there is a vast treasure to be found in Thomas de Hartmann's music, not only for guitar.
Yes.
Excellent. So yeah, if you didn't catch that, you can go to mittinolams.com. The URL's in the lower left side of the screen, and you can donate any amount of money in exchange for a digital copy of this album. Highly recommend purchasing it. While we've heard a couple of strange tracks, that's not how the whole album is. It's really an eclectic mix of beautiful music, punctuated with some of these more esoteric and mysterious types of pieces. But yeah, like Bert said, you can offer $0, you can offer $1, $2, or you can go all out, $100, whatever you want to do. So please go to mittinolams.com, the URL on the lower left side of the screen, and check this album out. Also, the first 2 albums are available on CD. Fabio, you were holding them up earlier. There they are. They are fantastic. Really check these albums out. You can purchase physical copies or digital copies. And Fabio, you mentioned before this interview started, there would be physical copies of Music of the Stars as well.
Yes, this November there will be available for those who wish.
Same website, right?
Yes.
And you're not selling through Bandcamp or any other sites, right?
Not
Just
for
our
now.
website.
Okay, so you heard it here. The only place to get it is through their website, at least for now. And please go there, check it out. And again, check out the live performance video that we put up last year of Bert and Fabio playing here in the Make Word Music studio. as well as the new music videos on Fabio's channel of these two performing. Now, one thing that I didn't get to that I was surprised about was it sounds like you two are in the same room playing these pieces together, but you're not. And that's an extraordinary thing for this album with such expressive music. There had to be some sort of coordination, and I don't mean like schedules, I mean like conducting or some sort of arrangement magic that happened to make it sound like you were organically playing in the same room without a metronome and whatever. So can you talk about recording this music thousands of miles apart?
Well, I know Bert since so many years. He was the first to give me guitar lesson when I was 18 years old, and I always listened to him since then, and after hundreds of concerts together, it's like we know how we, I would say, how we move into the tempo, you know, and so we can really lock together, even if we are not in the same room. And so
during this recording, I always try to be the first, so let me do this first so he can figure it out how to play on my really poor timing.
Oh, so that's how it was made. Just Bert gave Fabio all the opportunity to figure it out.
But that's a joke. But I know, there's some truth in it.
Yeah. And your music videos are the same. It looks like you're in the same room. It looks like you're even using the same cameras. And I just thought that is so impressive. Instead of emphasizing that you two are apart, you're doing everything you can, and not in a cheesy green screen kind of way. Like you literally look you're in the same room. So very impressive. There's several new music videos. Fabio, I'm assuming you were the architect of that idea.
Yes.
How'd you pull that off?
Lot of work, a lot of editing, and I have the first. I needed an idea, and I'm lacking so far. There was no shortage of that, and so when we say okay, for variation, I said let's do something different instead of, you know, everybody now do the split screen which is very cool actually, but we say let's do something a little bit different, and so we just make more like a director, you know. So I edited this and then close up, and then for the Pleureuse, because it sounds like a spaghetti western soundtrack, I said let's make it old, like you know, with that color correction that is that remind of that kind of movies, and the last one I really wanted to make it like if we are in the same room, so I used some tricks in order to make it, and it's fun. I use Premiere Pro and when we actually use our phone, is nothing really fancy, you know. We don't have professional equipment, but we have a lot of initiative.
Well, you know, congratulations. The videos are wonderful. The music is wonderful. This album is great. All of your albums are great. And before we go, I want to congratulate Bert and Fabio, you as well, that the new California Guitar Trio album, Elegy, is being considered for a Grammy nomination. That's awesome. Really cool. And if you're here and you haven't heard of these guys before, the California Guitar Trio is just such a wonderful musical group. And their new album, we did interview the whole trio a few months ago when the album came out. And you can get it at the California Guitar Trio website. And I believe you can stream it on Bandcamp and stuff. But yeah, excellent music on that album. So check it out. Congratulations to you guys on the potential Grammy nomination. That's great. And then Fabio, before we go, I wanted you to show off your special album with the action figure.
Well, it's my third album. It was released some month ago, and it's called Simple Music for Difficult People, Volume 3. And it's a concept album. It's called Automata Saga. It was inspired by the work of the Automata, you know, and so that's my record. And the cover was made by a very talented young comic
Artist.
Artist.
Yeah.
He's called Nick Cagnetti.
Uh-huh.
And, he's the Italian surname, but he's American. And so this is.
I love it.
And oops, this is the actual record basically, and is a USB key. And this is you know, this little automata is gold because the one I got here is the limited edition, only 50.
It's so
only 50
wonderful.
in the world. And which is basically there is a collection of all the simple music for difficult people album I made. So there is volume 1, volume 1.5, which is live with Fernando Kabuzaki, volume 2, volume 2.5, and this is volume 3, which basically is this one.
So yeah,
you can find all my videos on my channel.
Yep. And any fans of Fracture who have, you know, followed Make Weird Music to watch me stumble and bumble my way through these pieces can watch the real deal Fabio, the professional, who can actually play these pieces. Not only that, but he offers variations on or themes based on Fracture, because Fabio is so good, he can actually play with Fracture, you know, just play with the song instead of me, you know, fighting the song. So yeah, check out Fabio's music, and I just love that whole that action figure that's a USB key, has all of his Simple Music for Difficult People albums on it. Thank you both so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone who was here with us on the live stream. Love seeing all the comments, and let's close out with Mazurka. That's probably my favorite piece on the album. There are a lot of beautiful melodic pieces, but this one's just short and sweet. So let's take a listen, and then we'll end the stream. So thank you guys again. Thanks to all the viewers.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you. And go to mittinolams.com to buy this album for free or for donation.